And so that's what we're committed to. That's what we want to begin to do. And that's what Couples Academy is all about. And the audacity of marriage. We want you to get on board. We want you and your partner to be in front of your computer watching us or on the telephone listening to us. And then to have conversations when this is all over about what this can do for your marriage. Because if you're not taking the appropriate actions and steps to move forward in your relationship, listen, the law of vibration says either you are moving forward or moving back. Either you are growing or you are dying. If you refuse to do anything, you're going to go in a negative direction. If you're intentional in what you do, you're going to go in a positive direction. So the question is, what are you doing for yourself? What are you doing for your marriage? How much time, how much money are you investing in your relationship? I can't say this enough, and you may get sick and tired of me saying it, but the average wedding costs around $25,000 in America. The average divorce costs over $53,000. But guess how much a book on relationships and marriages? Guess how much a seminar? Guess how much a retreat will cost? Not even a rat's nostrils worth in comparison to what you have to pay getting married, and because it didn't work out, because you didn't take the time to do anything, to get a divorce. So we're all about teaching you skills. Listen, you should not just be getting married for love, because love will not keep you together. Love brings you together when you fall in love, and when you fall out of love, love tears you apart. So you've got to have the knowledge and the skill in order to meet those emotional needs of your partner, the financial needs, the sexual needs, in order for you to remain in love, protecting that emotional feeling. And so that's why you've got to begin to have conversations. Listen, I was very disturbed because tonight I received some news that really disturbed me. I have a very close friend that has been in a relationship or marriage for a long time, come to find out that their partner has stepped out on them. And one of the challenges that they were dealing with in the marriage, and this is a wife who said, I'm sick and tired of worrying about everybody else. I've given up my time to my children. I've given you all my time. Now it's time for me. And because she's fed up about her situation, she's out. And now she's living her own life. And it's problematic because to me, anytime you are cheating on a partner, you have to really get to the core and the root of it all, because there's a message in every act of infidelity. There's a reason behind it, not a justification, but a reason. And if you take the time to really explore why it happened, you can learn how to restore it, if it's possible, or learn from other people's experiences not to go through what they went through. So in this case, I'm finding that there's so many women in particular who are in relationships whose needs are not being met. They're giving up themselves to their children, to their husband, or vice versa, a husband to the children and the wife, and their needs are being met. And so, as I've always said, there's only 4 things a person can do in your life. They can either add to your life, multiply into your life, subtract from your life, or divide from your life. So when you take an assessment of your marriage, of your relationship, what is happening?
Are you listening? Because I think that in many cases, a lot of women or men have been calling or crying out about a particular situation for a long time. It's not that it was never said, it was never heard. It could be anything. It could be just unmet needs in the home, unmet needs physically, unmet needs emotionally, that after a while, maybe even the person that is complaining just stops saying because they don't think that the other person cares. And so what happens is those emotions harden and become callous, and the wall goes up, and everybody keeps on going about life as usual. Business as usual, and they go through the motions, and then one day, that person realizes that not a thing has changed in 20 years. I'm still here struggling. I'm still here bitter. I'm still here unsatisfied. I'm still looking around and seeing the same circumstances and situations, and at some point, they decide to do them. It could be, you call it midlife crisis. Call it midlife crisis, call it whatever you want, but whatever it is, they decide they're going to do them. And that's what I think really happened. I don't know the ins and outs and details of every person's situation or their situation. But what I do know is that all too many men and women are in these relationships where needs go unmet. And I think to sort of cut it off at the pass is to meet those needs when they're said. Don't you agree? Like if you hear somebody communicating to you over and over again, this is the issue, this is the issue, this is the issue, you said to yourself, you think sometimes people become numb to it, right? They hear it over and over again, right. They become numb to it.
It's just like anything. If you hear this noise in your house, this beeping, beep, 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 you hear it at first, but then all of a sudden your ear adjusts to the sound and you don't hear it anymore.
Right.
And that happens with anything. It's just like a smell. You smell something that stinks, your nose adjusts to the scent. You don't smell it anymore. So in a relationship, when you're constantly hearing things, but it's done in a complaining way, it's done in an attitudinal way, and you don't take the time to have, like the Bill Cosby, remember the Cosby Show, they would have a family meeting or a family caucus where they would sit down and clearly address issues. Listen, this is how I'm feeling. This is where I am. If this does not change, this is the path we're leading down. Now, that doesn't happen in most relationships.
No.
Because we don't operate as a business. Marriage is a business to a degree. And so sometimes you have to have those meetings where you're clear. A lot of men complain that they can't read a woman's mind. Women complain, I've been telling you for years, you just haven't been listening. Well, because we both have a problem in our communication and receiving information and messages, you have to have a sit-down, heart-to-heart conversation where you lay things out on the table. And each of you should write down what your needs are in a relationship. Because to your point, Danielle, you can elaborate. You were saying, well, who I was at 20 is different than who I am at 25. Or who I was as a mother when my children were 2 is different than when they're 10. So my needs change because seasons in life change.
Yeah, and I don't think that makes it any less important. I think that people change with the seasons, just like the seasons change. I mean, for me, I know that, you know, we discovered about me in our marriage the need for me to actually get away. Now, what does that mean? That doesn't mean there's anything wrong in my relationship at the time. It doesn't mean I'm sick and tired of people, but it means that I, as a mother or as a person, my personal need is to actually go away and have me time, get in my Bible, get in my Word, just be quiet sometimes, and that's a need of mine. Hasani is able to understand that need and allows me to meet that need, and so things go on. I'm the best mom I can be when that need is met. When that need's not met, I'm the worst mom, I'm the worst wife, I'm the worst everything, because there's something missing from me. So what I'm saying, or what I think, because I know a lot of times you might be saying, well, what if I've had this conversation with my spouse? We've talked about it over and over again and nothing's changed. You know, if it's finances, for example, that's a hard thing to say, okay, finances is the issue. We need more money. That's common. Well, instead of being like, well, I'm going to split, I'm going to go my way, I'm going to do my thing, I'm going to make my own money, I'm going to hide my money here or hide my money there or do my own thing, you have to come together with a plan to move forward with your finances. What does that mean? Does that mean reschooling? Possibly. Does that mean getting 2 jobs or another job or both spouses working? Possibly. But the whole idea is having a plan to meet those needs instead of just sweeping it under the rug or ignoring it, which most people do, and then it becomes a big mountain, and you wonder what happened when the person snaps. And then they say, well, I told you, I've been telling you for 5 years, X, Y, Z. And a person's like, man, like, what happened?
Well, listen, let me just say this. Danielle and I, when we were in that season of our marriage where we just weren't getting along, and, it was just a miserable situation. She had been complaining that she had told me over and over and over again, and I guess like anything else, I became numb or deaf to it. And when I made the decision that I was going to do what I thought was best for me and our marriage, I invested in some DVDs on marriage and watched it. And now I'm sitting next to Danielle on the couch, listening to the instructor in the video, and the video instructor is saying the same exact things that Danielle had been saying, but I couldn't receive it from her for whatever reason, because we were at odds. We weren't connected. I was able to receive the same message, the same words from the instructor in a way that I couldn't receive it from her. And for me, it clicked. That was the difference. That was the change. So sometimes if you feel as if you're not getting anywhere with your partner, that's why we talk about and encourage having a marriage mentor. Another couple that you and your partner both esteem, you value their wisdom and advice, they have a great relationship, and you can glean from them. And when you're having conflict, or when you come to odds on a particular issue and you can't seem to go left, right, you're just stuck, you bring them in to offer their advice. Or you go to counseling, whatever it may be. Maybe it's going to retreat. The point is you have to do something. Insanity is doing the same exact thing over and over again and expecting different results. So Couples Academy provides counseling for people who are in those situations. You know, when it came to issues that we could not come to an agreement with because she thought her way was right, I thought my way was right, we agreed that we would submit, both of us as a couple would submit to another system or some other wisdom, so that she didn't feel as if I was pulling her my way or she was pulling me her way. We both agreed on, you know what, this is a system that has worked for other couples. Let us submit to it and allow it to work for us.
And I want to encourage ladies. I'm always wanting to encourage the ladies. I encourage you too, men. But anyway, ladies, I want to say that when Hasani started with this tape, get this series to listen to for counseling, I was not interested at all. I remember laying on the couch while he was, let's watch these videos. And I'm like, okay, like just really turned off and just with the wall up and not interested at all. And the video was on. I don't even know what the video was talking about. I was like half falling asleep, but he was watching those videos daily. He was constantly pulling me in to watch these videos. And I started to, and I wasn't with it because I'm like, he said it a billion times that he's going to change. And every time he says it or gets into, he likes learning. So when he wanted to learn, I was not at all moved. I just felt like he wants to learn one more thing and I'm not interested. But what happened was I started to see changes in his actions. It was like weeks that had gone by and certain things that were issues he was no longer doing. So he really started to to pull my wall down slowly but surely by watching these DVDs, and then I started getting interested in these DVDs. So if you have just one person, it's not going to take two of you. If you just have one person that has a high desire to change, then that's all you need, just one person. Would you agree?
I totally agree with that. But now you have people watching us right now and listening to us right now saying, I wish my husband would do that.
Exactly.
I wish my wife would do that. I'm the one on the call that, you're preaching to the choir. Well, you know what? If your partner is the problem and they are the ones that need to change, the same advice applies to you. Listen, you can't get your partner to change. It's just not going to happen, right? The only way technically that you can get your partner to change is for you to change. And when you make certain changes in your life, you're forcing your partner to respond to your change, thus changing your partner.
That is exactly what happened.
So it's an indirect change. You can't point your finger saying, you need to change. Because when you point the finger, there's always three fingers pointing back at you. So when you say, you know what, I have a problem with this issue in him, that issue in her, whatever. But I'm going to work on me. I'm going to work on things that I need to improve about myself. And when you make changes, you're forcing them to adjust. Because they can't live the way they always live because you are somebody different.
Right. And then you know what? And also, people, you need to understand that no one's perfect. I'm not going to sit here and say that the things that we have worked on in our marriage never, ever come up. Of course they do. But because you've worked on you, now you look at things differently. So what I'm saying, because there's women out there and men out there that's saying, I've been with this person for 12 years and they've still been doing the same thing. Ain't nothing going to change. But have you changed? Have you asked God to change the way you perceive that person? Have you asked God to change the way you react to the things that bug you about that person? That's one major thing that helped me. Because the one issue, the major issue that you had was criticalness. Remember? That was so big. And we worked on that. That is like almost 100% gone. Almost, really. And I would say that criticalness really shut me down. But what I would do, what I did once we started working through it, because the devil's not going to shake your hand and be like, okay, good job, good for you, you figured it out, this is the promise, and now I got to back up and let you have a happy marriage and you're going to live blissfully ever after. No, that's not going to happen. You're going to continue to have challenges. But what I did in the process of all the work that Hasani put in to win me over and to open my spirit caused me to want to work. And the work that I did was to, first of all, look at me and see what issues I was doing, what I needed to change. And then secondly, ask God to help me to change how I react to some of the things that I was experiencing, because I had an issue of being overly sensitive. So, overly sensitive and highly critical does not work. It does not work, okay? So what I had to do is I had to ask God to help me to not react that way. Help me to not feel that thing. You know how the one way when your spouse says certain things, you know that it gets you. You start feeling it all up in the chest. It starts rising up on you, just the way that they said it. or the way they cut their eyes or whatever, and it starts rising up on you. Well, I asked God to help me deal with that, to diminish that, so that when I would hear whatever it was that would make that happen to me, it no longer affected me. So you need to really take, I'm telling you, listen, the Spirit of God, I know this ain't church, and we ain't pastors, but I'm going to tell you, the Holy Spirit is the governor, and it helps you to come together with your spouse and deal with those issues that are like soulish realms issues that you don't know where this came from. Why is it that when he says it that way, it jumps on me and affects me that way? It's all up in your spirit. And so you need to deal with that on that level. You need to take some things that you can't fix physically, that you can't fix with words, that you can't fix with a DVD or CD. Some things, my brothers, my sisters, are going to require that you get down on your knees and work on yourself, because you can't do nothing about that other person. If that person is stubborn and is determined not to change, they done told you, I ain't changing, that's it. If that's the type of situation that you're in, then now where do you turn? Inward. Who's inward? I hope the Spirit of God, because that's your source.
As I've always said as we wrap up, there are three relationships you've got to master. The relationship that you have with God, that's your vertical relationship. The relationship you have with yourself, that's your internal relationship. And then the relationship you have with your partner, that is your horizontal relationship. You have to get back to God. There is nothing natural about marriage. It is supernatural.
Yes.
It's natural to quit. Yeah. It's natural to cheat. It's natural to divorce. It's natural to give up. It's natural to complain and murmur. It's natural to just do everything opposite of what God has put in His Word. It's supernatural to do, because marriage is God's idea. And if we're going to do it God's way, it's going to require His intervention. So by Him adding His super onto our natural, now we can have a supernatural marriage and relationship. And so if God is not the glue that's binding you together, if He's not the core, the crux, the foundation of your relationship, you're going to have rocky times, as you will if He is. But you won't, I don't know if you'll be able to persevere as much or as easily or as quickly if you don't have God. So I'm encouraging you. I'm encouraging you to master those three relationships, to put God back at the center. And listen, when a wife, the Bible talks about how a wife needs to submit to her husband, but a husband must submit to God. And when a husband truly submits to God, everything is in order. We always talk about women submitting, but we don't talk about the man. Listen, a man
that's a harder chore.
A man submits to his boss on his job.
Yeah.
A man submits to his coach in a sports game. A man submits to the if you're in the military, you have to submit to the colonel, the general, whoever. So submission is something that we both must do in order for this relationship to work. So folks, I hope that you heard something here today. This is the audacity of marriage, where we're going to be bold about what the Word says that we need to do to make our marriages work.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we sign off, I just want to make sure that I thank our wonderful, phenomenal sponsors. We have sponsors that are giving their services, the donations, and time. And I just want to thank you. We have people that give away things like massages and getaway vacations, and they do that for us so that we can bless you. Everything that we do here at Couple Academy is about you. We want to make it easier for you to be blissful and happily married. And so we just want to thank all of our sponsors for everything that you do. And if you are an organization or a business or have a service that you think lines up with Couples Academy and what we do, please contact us, and we would love to have you be a sponsor with us.
And last but not least, just go to the website, couplesacademy.org. We have a lot coming up. As we've mentioned, listen, we have 3 more slots for the Power of Couples Retreat. It is an experience that you should not want to miss. Whatever you have to do, get you a babysitter, get the finances, take the time off your job. It's just a day of travel for the Power of Couples Retreat.
Yes.
You need to be there October the 11th through the 13th. This is an annual thing. It comes around once a year. I'm telling you, if you're looking for a change, stop relying on the same old methods to do it. Get here and make it happen.
And don't forget.
We're going to get there.
Okay.
But listen, Power Couples University begins at the very beginning of September. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we have courses every single night. It's a virtual school, all right? So if you go on the website, look at the classes. They are $65 per class. I've made it so affordable to strip you of any excuse that you could ever have about joining the class. And so we're teaching level 1 courses to give you a foundation in your relationship. And I'm telling you, it's powerful. You're going to get 4 weekly sessions. That completes the course. I encourage you to sign up for as many as you can, because Counseling is great, but having a course with instructions and skill sets and know-how to do will really transform your marriage. So I encourage you to go to the website and sign up for a class. And last but not least, on August 31st, we're having our meetup. It's the Aphrodisiac Wine and Food Tasting event. It's going to be beautiful. We're going to have high tables. You're going to be standing there with your partner, 1 plate, 2 forks, and we have a private chef that's going to basically walk us through every single aphrodisiac food on the plate. Multiple dishes are going to be served, and she's going to talk to you about what's in these foods, how the aphrodisiacs affect you, and how you can easily prepare these for yourself. I mean, today I went to taste some food just to approve some things on the menu, and I tasted oysters, and they were good. So, not to say that it's going to be on there. I'm not going to tell you what's going to be on the menu, but I saw some highlights of the menu, and I was excited. So, be there. It's $10 a couple. $10 a person. So, $20 a couple. You can register on our meetup page, or you can go through our website to register. And you do not want to miss it. For the value, the music, she's even picked out aphrodisiac music to go with the food. It's all themed out. It's going to be awesome and amazing. You're going to have a good time talking to the other couples while you learn about aphrodisiac foods in this month, which is Sex Month. So please make it out. This is Sex Month, folks. We are almost halfway through. Tomorrow, we're beginning our 7 days of extraordinary sex. I am so anticipating 12:01. I'm not waiting for tomorrow. We got a couple more.
It's not 12:01.
It's almost about to be. But my point is, if you haven't signed up, go on the website, sign up for the challenge. It will change and transform your relationship. Thank you for listening to The Audacity of Marriage. We'll tune in next week for another great show. We're excited to connect with you. Good night.